Join Cycling offers structured training plans designed by World Tour level cycling coaches. The average Join user increases their VO2 max by 20% within a few months of training on Join without even increasing their training hours per week. But what was Tadej Pogacar and UAE Team Emirates planning for today? Tour de France Stage 14, we're into the high mountains, back down into the Pyrenees from Pau to Pla d'Ardèche. First 70k's were flat, then the Tourmalet, 20k's at 7.5%, which you'll know well. Then the irregular Orquet d'Anzizan, and then the also irregular but steep Pla d'Ardèche, just under a 30-minute mountaintop finish. And breakaway formation, again, for those teams like DSM, the French teams, EF Education, Easy Post, UNOX, Movistar, you name them, it was not going. The break never went. UAE looked like they were applying a modicum of control initially, and really the breakaway teams, they just never got it sorted. And by the time it did actually go with Lazcano and Healy, and you can see Sean Quinn pulling to try rip open the gap, we're already about 10k's away from the base of the Tourmalet when Nils Pollitt's setting a pace, so the breakaway never gets a big margin. We're at the Tourmalet and it's just formed, the gap's about 4 minutes, and Nils Pollitt does a huge shift for UAE Team Emirates today, and it's very clear what their plan is for the stage. So Sean Quinn, he just gets on the front with Ben Healy, the best climber in this group, in the break, and tries to keep that gap at least stable. Perhaps Lazcano and Healy and Meintjes and Kwiatkowski should have just gone up the road and gone even harder, or maybe they couldn't, because Wellens and Pollitt were setting such a heavy pace. So Pogacar clearly planning something for the stage, and the Tourmalet, as I said, Nils Pollitt, one of his best ever climbing performances today. Just looking at the numbers, we've got 3 or 4 Vismas, we've got 4 Ineos, 5 Quick-Step. Actually, they're looking really good. So many blue jerseys in the peloton, I can't really tell who's who. So I'd like that to be fixed by next year. It's actually impossible to know where Decathlon or Visma or where anyone is half the time in a full peloton. Down the foggy descent off the Tourmalet, Orquet d'Anzizan is where Michael Bjerg ripped the race apart in the Périgord Stage 17 in 2022. And the breakaway, the best climbers come to the front. They know we're at 3 minutes. We got to try to pace it like the actual climber's pace, but Marc Soler puts 1.5 minutes into those breakaway riders, absolutely shredding this climb like Michael Bjerg did a couple of years ago, and reduces the group further. Visma are down to 3 riders, and the breakaway gets in the valley. David Gaudou's probably talking to the car like, the gap is what? With Marc Soler still shredding it. Sivakov saying maybe slow down a bit on the flat, but no one was slowing down. Even Ben Healy, he goes straight from the bottom. He had to on Pla d'Ardèche, and Sivakov takes over from Marc Soler and does one of his best domestique performances in this Tour de France so far. And I feel really sorry for Healy. Like, his level is so good, and on a different year or a different stage, he would already have a Tour de France stage win in the bag. But that's not how these things work. When the GC boys are hungry, they ought to eat. And UAE were eating or feasting on everybody else today. Sivakov coming to the end of his pull after a couple of Ks on Pla d'Ardèche. And Almeida says, don't worry, I'll take it from here. 3rd in the Giro last year. Not a bad guy to have. Still with Adam Yates sitting behind with Tadej Pogacar a bit deeper in the group. Almeida checking, maybe the climb profile or pressing the lap button. And let's just look at who we got. Remco obviously in the white jersey. Adam Yates, they don't use him before Almeida like they did on Puy-Marie. He's just sitting next to Pogacar. Carlos Rodriguez is the Ineos rider behind him. And the gap to Ben Healy doesn't change too much. It's gone down 20 seconds when Sivakov pulled. It stays about the same when Almeida pulls. And then we see Pogacar having a word to Adam Yates. And Yates doesn't immediately go to the front. In fact, what we see is a Yates attack. The man with all the aura in the world, as we know, goes off the front. We're like, what are UAE doing? Why would Yates attack? Pogacar doesn't care about Adam Yates' stage win or Adam Yates moving up on GC. No one in the GC group care about Adam Yates' GC. And, because Quick-Step, they didn't put Land at a pace. He's not going to take 5 minutes on a 5K climb. And he's getting across to Healy quickly. And the tell is when Yates is looking back. Yates is looking back all the time with 4.8 Ks to go, and that means he's waiting for a certain man in the yellow jersey to bridge across, and Pogacar drops the hammer on Jonas Vingegaard, attacking from behind him. Vingegaard never gets across to the wheel, and Pogacar is bridging across to his teammate up the road. The gap is pretty stable for the 1500 meters from the attack point. Yates starts pulling. It looks like Vingegaard on these steep gradients might even be clawing it back a little bit to 7 seconds, 6 seconds, and Pogacar's looking back to see where he is, whilst Yates is slowing down a bit. The gap is only about 35, 40 meters. But then it's time for Pogacar to go again with a second dig. And this climb levels off. We've got a descent, a flatter 500 meters, a punch up again, and then the last sort of mile is only about 5%. And so that's advantage Pogacar. Whilst Vingegaard on the steep gradients was able to hold it manageable, sub 10 seconds, let's say, Pogacar gets over this crest. Visibly, you can see it gets a bit shallower, and he absolutely rips this gap open. Go and check out LanterneRouge.com. We have the detailed analysis of the what's on today's stage. This is Pogacar's best ever performance ever, and one of the best ever this century on a really intense stage. The Tourmalet and Horquette d'Anzizon, they didn't walk up it. He absolutely ruins the rest of the competition. It's not a long climb. It's a 27-minute climb, and he puts big time, or it looks like it's going to be big time, into Jonas Vingegaard, because that 20 seconds almost doubles in the last kilometre and a half. And as you can see how irregular it is, it seems to suit Pogacar as he's visibly going much quicker than the slender Vingegaard. And is the Tour de France over? After maybe a wobble on stage 11, Pogacar makes a huge statement on Pla d'Ardèche at his best ever level, and Vingegaard losing big time. 43 seconds when you count up the bonies as well, with another 110 to Evenepoel. Really good performance from Rodriguez on 119, then Ciccone, Buitrago, Adam Yates, Felix Gall, Jorgensen, and Derek G rounding out the top 10. Here's what Tadej Pogacar had to say after the stage.
Tadej, was that planned or was that instinct?
It was instinct. We tried to go for the stage, but more for the sprint. Then it was this kind of situation. Adam attacked, and Visma had to try to maintain the gap. And I see that that if I breach to Adam with a gap, he can pull me a little bit. And this was really perfect. And I must say a big thank you to all the team today. They were amazing, and this victory is for all my teammates.
Today you wanted to hit hard, you wanted to make a real difference with Jonas.
No, like I said, the plan was just to come to sprint to the final and make the sprint hard, and maybe take some seconds stage win. But in the end, like this, it's much better.
But in terms of GC, the gap is now nearly 2 minutes to Jonas Vingegaard, who does go ahead of Remco Evenepoel on 2:22. His podium's looking really good, but it seems like it can't go any further for Vingegaard. He's got to start clawing back time somewhere. We'll see if he can. Big mountain stage tomorrow. Hope you enjoy the video. I'll see you then. Ciao.